Here we are at day 16. So as you start to move towards self-sufficiency and you start to do the M-word technique on your own, it's really important that you get into the habit of scheduling it. And I'm gonna go ahead and preemptively warn you about the number one excuse that starts to come up for people who are creating a meditation habit. They say to me, Emily, I wanna meditate. I know it's good for me. I feel so amazing when I do it, but I am busy. Right? Like we all think that we're the busiest person in the land, right? But here's the news. If Oprah has time to meditate, you have time to meditate. All of the high achievers in the world, all the, the Ray Dalios and the Seahawks and the Olympic athletes, they're not meditating because they have copious amounts of extra time. They're meditating because they know it's going to make them better at life. Right? So you really got to reframe the way that you think about meditation, and don't think about it like wasted time or lazy time. Think about it like priming your brain and body to perform at the top of your game. So saying that you're too busy to meditate is like saying that you don't have time to stop and get gas for your car. It's like, okay, well, do you have time to run out of gas? Because that's going to cost you a lot more time. So here's a fun way to think about the meditation. You want to put it in the non-negotiable category, like I said, and I like to think about that famous college lecture. There was a professor that came out and he had a whole bunch of college students and he had two glasses. And one was filled with a half a glass of sand and the other was filled with a thing of golf balls. And then he had a third glass and he poured the golf balls into the third glass. And then he poured the sand in around it. And the sand filled exactly up to the top, to the rim of the glass. And then he poured it all out. And then he started with the sand. He poured the sand in first, and then he tried to fit in the golf balls, and there wasn't enough room. All the golf balls were spilling out of the top of the glass. So the moral of the story is that if you put the priorities into your day first, there's plenty of time for Facebooking and complaining and drinking. But if you start your day with Facebooking, complaining, and drinking, then it's pretty hard to get to the gym, it's pretty hard to eat well, and it's really hard to meditate. So the not-so-secret secret to committing to your meditation practice is scheduling it. So I know I gave you that homework assignment on the first day, but let's revisit that. I want you to actually pull out your phone, look at the next 15 days on your calendar, and actually schedule your meditation. Now, I recommend the best time is first thing in the morning, before coffee, before breakfast, before computer. And as we start to move into part 2, that's going to be your assignment. You just wake up, freshen up, and meditate, and then you'll do the video training right after. So I'd say all told, 25, 30 minutes of the meditation and the training. So before I walk you through a perfect day in the life of a meditator, I just really want to drive home this busy piece, okay? Think about your brain like a computer. Okay, and let's imagine that you're at work and you're typing an email and then you decide to take a little break. So you pop open a window of Facebook and then you pop open some YouTube and then some Twitter and then some Instagram and then some Hulu and then some Vine. And let's just say that you had 10 million open windows on your computer and then you think, maybe I should get back to work. And you go to type that email, but the cursor is 20 spaces behind and you're like, oh, stupid computer, can't even type an email. Well, this computer is plenty capable of typing an email, but if you're using all of its computing power to run these 10 million open windows, then you're slowing down its ability to perform the task at hand. So what meditation does is that it goes in and it gives our body deep rest. It de-excites our nervous system, which is the equivalent of going in and opening, maximizing all of these old windows so that you can click X and get them out of your body. And then the less open windows you have on your brain, the more brain power you have for the task at hand. So this is why meditators report being able to do more in less time. They're able to do less and accomplish more. So that's what we want to start to move towards. So I hope that computer analogy is helpful. So now let's talk about perfect day in the life of a meditator. So it actually has to start the night before, right? You're gonna have to set your alarm for 30 minutes earlier than you normally get up. And I get that that might be very hard right now because you might be very tired. Oftentimes in the first few days and weeks of meditation, some old fatigue can start to come up and out, but do it anyway. Just rip the Band-Aid, put your feet on the ground, get out of bed, freshen up, and then first thing, before coffee, before breakfast, before computer, you're gonna do the M-word technique. You're gonna prime your brain and body to perform at the top of your game. And then you're gonna move into the part 2 training. right? And then what we're going to learn in part 2 is basically real world meditation, practical applications of meditation. And these are some tips and some tricks you can use out in your day, in the land, with your eyes open. As far as exercise and meditation goes, I recommend that you meditate first and then exercise because it's going to give you a lot more energy for your workout. And especially if you're going to a gym or meeting with a trainer, then you definitely want to meditate first. I know I keep saying this analogy about brushing your teeth, but you wouldn't leave your house without brushing your teeth because that's rude and gross. I don't want you leaving your house without meditating. So if you meet a trainer or go for a workout class outside of your house, then definitely do the M word technique first. So I know that you might have heard other people say, well, I meditate right before bed and it's really relaxing right before bed. And certainly there are guided visualizations that you can use to help induce sleep, but this is not one of them. This M word technique is really designed to be done first thing in the morning to prime your brain and body to perform at the top of your game. So just like you wouldn't leave your house without brushing your teeth, I don't want you to leave your house without meditating. So just wake up, freshen up, and then first thing, hit the chair. And then just watch as your life starts to up level. You start to notice a little bit more ease, a little bit more elegance, a little bit more compassion, a little bit more serendipity, and know that the effects of this are cumulative. So the longer you have a practice, the more benefits you're going to start to notice. So with that said, I want you to dive on into the M word technique for today. And feel free to use my voice guiding you along. And then in a few days, we'll start to move towards doing it on your own. Happy meditating, and I'll see you tomorrow.